Hello everyone, my name is Rishabh Singh. I have secured All India rank 102 in UPSC CAPF 2019 examination. So am I audible to you?
Yes, sir. You are audible.
Okay. Okay, so let's start with today's session. Okay, so we will be going in this order. First of all, we will talk about physical efficiency test. Then we will talk about the medical. And because DAF is directly linked with interview, so we will talk about DAF and interview in the end. And then we will take up your doubts. So starting with the physical. See, first of all, there will be PST. This is called physical standard test. Now there will be three measurements which will be taken. Height, like there are some minimum height requirements, so they are very strict with height. Then coming to weight. Now this is a problem with many candidates. So coming to weights, as you can go through CAPF 2021 notification on UPSC website, you will find a chart where their age, sex, and range of weight has been mentioned. Okay, so refer to that chart. Your weight should lie between those within that range. So now coming to weight control. See how to reduce weight. For example, when when our results came, I was working in a company and my weight was 95 kg. Okay, and I had to reduce it to around less than 70 kg. So basically, now main funda for reducing weight is calorie deficit. For example, see if you consume lesser amount of calories and you burn more, then there will be a calorie deficit. Higher the calorie deficit, the quicker the weight will reduce. Okay, so what I used to do is, for example, because see, for example, if you start running for weight, running or jogging on daily basis, then there are certain benefits. First of all, you will build up stamina. Now, stamina will help you a lot in physical tests, which is PET. For example, long jump, 100 meter and 800 meter. Second thing, it will improve your personality and it will help you a lot in personal interview. Okay. And third thing is knock knees. For example, I had this knock knees issue a little bit. So see, what happens is when there is a lot of fat on our legs and on our knees, then they tend to touch with each other. Okay, so when we reduce our weight, we do a lot of exercise, we run a lot, then what happens is the amount of fat which is there on our knees or legs gets reduced, and therefore the problem of knock knees gets rectified. Okay, so this is the another benefit. So what was my routine for PET? Now what you have to do is, or PET or weight control, for both of them, you should start running. Okay, start running around, for example, start with 3 kilometer every day or 4 kilometer every day. Gradually you can increase it. For example, gradually I increase it to, I used to run 20 kilometer in morning and around 20 kilometer in evening. Okay, around 40 kilometer per day. Yes, there is no need to do that much, but the more you will do, quicker you will get your weight in the category. Okay, the better the stamina. So this is an important thing. So what I used to do is, I used to run a lot, around 20 to 30 kilometer per day. Then about diet, I used to have breakfast, light breakfast, and light dinner. No lunch, nothing in between, just water. So basically what I was doing is, I was increasing my calorie deficit by increasing the number of calories I burn and reducing the number of calories I consume. So when your calorie deficit is very high, for example, if I am doing very intense exercise and I am suppose burning around 3000 calories per day, but I am consuming only 1000 calories per day, so obviously calorie deficit is 2000 calories per day, and I was able to reduce my weight from 95 or 94 kg to around 69 kg within a month. 30 days or 35 days, maximum 40 days it took. Okay, so this is how to control weight. Now coming to that medical part, see, during PST, before physical test, they will take your height, weight, and third thing they will take is chest expansion. Now there are some minimum requirement. For example, there are minimum chest expansion should be 5 centimeters. Okay, so what you can do is you can go on YouTube, and there are many videos, right? There are many videos. There are many army men um, who are coaching candidates for this thing, and you can find videos on how to expand your chest during the medical. Okay, so they will tell you how to breathe, how to breathe out, and how to pass this test, which is chest expansion. I watched some videos, I implemented those techniques, I practiced those, and I was easily able to expand my chest to around 7 centimeters. So this is about chest expansion. Now about weight. See, there is a lot of confusion among candidates regarding this weight issue. So focusing on it. So see, UPSC has clearly mentioned all these standards in the UPSC notification. Regarding PET, for example, timing for 100 meter is 16 seconds, for 800 meter is 3 minutes 45 seconds, and so on. Okay, similarly for weight, there is a chart given. But now what happens during the medical will depend on discretion of the doctor or discretion of the officer, which would be there in your PET, right? Sometimes it may happen that, okay, if the doctor is lenient, and suppose if you are 2 kg, 3 kg overweight or 500 grams overweight, he may clear you. But again, if it may also happen, sometimes doctor is very, very strict. When doctor is very, very strict, even if you are 100 or 200 grams overweight, just 200 or 500 grams you are overweight, then also he will declare you medically unfit, and you will have to go for remedical. And now because of the new regulations, the thing is that remedical will take place quickly after the DME, that is direct detailed medical examination. So there no time will be given, and it is a, see, there is no problem, because see, for example, you will feel deaf, then they will give you dates for physical, then medical. So around minimum 45 days you will get. So you can easily reduce your weight, and you can easily build up your stamina in these 45 days. 45 days are more than enough to reduce weight to the required category, right? According to required category. And see, you do not need those 30 extra days then for the remedical. So that is the funda. The one who is not able to reduce his weight or maintain his fitness within 45 days, then it will become very difficult for the person to get it done in next 30 days. Okay, so regarding weight, this is how they do it. So better is avoid remedical. See, if you get remedical, now the procedure is very, very easy, because it is very, very quick just after. But in our case, it used to take some time. For example, 30 to 40 days were given to the candidates. Now there is some issue. First of all, when there is remedical, then the main issue is, when there is remedical, it wastes a lot of time and energy. It used to waste a lot of time and energy for the candidates. For example, I cleared my medical in first attempt itself. So then the benefit is that once we clear the medical in first attempt, we can switch to interview preparation. We can directly go to interview preparation. We don't waste a lot of time in medical. But suppose you get to a remedical, and remedical is after suppose 2 months or 3 months, then in that case you will waste a lot of time in the medical process, and very little time will be left for interview preparation. So best thing is prepare yourself and avoid remedical at any cost. Okay, so we'll talk about medical in detail later. So now, what you should do on the day of PST, physical standards test. See, this is obvious that if you consume anything, suppose you drink 2 liters of water. Now you know, you are a science student, 2 liters of water is around 2 kgs, right? So if you will drink 2 liters of water, it will increase your weight. Simple. If you eat more food, it will increase your weight on the day of PST. So what my strategy was on the day of PST, minimize intake of food and minimize intake of water on the day of PST or PET on your reporting day, so that your weight is minimum, right? So this is one thing. You can consume for energy, you can consume food which is very high in calories, but it is not very heavy. Now this will also help you in physical as well, right? When you will run. For example, you can have chocolates. So what I did was, I took 3 or 4 Snicker chocolates with me when I went for the physical, and I had the chocolates, and I did not drink any water unnecessarily, right? just a little water till at least till they take your weight. So this is what you to do on the that day. Now coming to PET. See, PET, what to do is 100 meter, 800 meter. When you will run on daily basis, you will build up a lot of stamina, right? For example, I used to run 15, 20, 30 kilometers. So it was very easy for me to run 800 meters. Initially I used to take around 4 and 4.5 minutes for 800 meter, but gradually this timing came down to 2 minutes and 30 seconds, 2 minutes and 45 seconds. So now time limit in CABF is 3 minutes 45 seconds, which is more than enough. Now same is for 100 meter. Okay, if you will have lesser weight to carry on your body, then obviously you will have a faster speed, and with practice you can complete 100 meter within 14 seconds or 12 seconds or 13 seconds. So okay, 16 seconds is more than enough. Only those people who are overweight, who have a lot of weight, they will face issues in 100 meter and 800 meter. Okay, so run at least 5 kilometer per day. This will help you a lot. Now coming to long jump and shot put. See, maximum rejection is in long jump and shot put. This is because in 100 meter and 800 meter, you will run with many candidates. They will make 10 or 15 candidates to run together. Now, when you will run with many candidates, you will get some motivation, you will get motivated, and you will clear anyhow. Okay. But in long jump and shot put, these are individual events, and these are a little bit technical. So what I did was, what you can do is go to YouTube again. You will have many. There are many videos on YouTube you can watch regarding mainly the videos for army bharti, right? You know that in army and CAPF and police at the constable level and the sub inspector level in the bharti we have long jump and shot put and these kind of things. So they have many techniques. So learn technique from them. For example, what I did was I bought a shot put. You can go to any shop and you can bought a shot put which is 7.26 kgs, and you can practice using that. Okay. So I learned the technique from YouTube. I practiced it on the ground, and I was easily able to throw it to around 6 meters on 5.5 meters. Required is we need to UPSC standards say that minimum required is 4.5 meter only. Now same is for long jump. You can go to YouTube, watch many videos how to perform long jump. Then you can join any stadium or you can go to any ground where long jump pit is available for practicing long jump. For example, I went to Jawaharlal Nehru Stadium for a month, and the pit was available there, and I practiced a lot for long jump. Now some tips regarding physical test. See, in sports, in any sport you take, be it cricket or football or athletics, to perform well, avoiding all the kind of injuries is very important. So for example, this is the best time for you people to practice long jump, because in case you practice long jump and you get injured, there is sufficient time to recover, right? Never practice long jump when you for example, you have your physical after 15 days. Never practice long jump during these 15 days, because if you get injured at this point of time, it won't be possible for you to recover in those 15 days, right? And it will severely impact your chances of getting selected. So that is why stop practicing, or at this time, because there is a lot of time to go and there is a lot of time to recover. At this time you can do heavy exercises, you can practice long jump, you can run long distances, no problem. But when the date of your physical comes closer, then it is beneficial for you that you stop practicing a lot, and just you should just keep yourself warmed up and keep yourself in pace. So what I used to do is, just 10 to 15 days before my physical, I was running only 1 kilometer daily. Okay, I was running 1 kilometer daily, and I stopped practicing long jump when when my physical was around after 20-25 days. Okay, so this is the best time to practice, because many people get injured when they practice for long jump. This is the main thing. And for shot put, main thing is, in shot put we have only one chance. So practice a lot, watch on YouTube, then practice a lot. See, it may happen that okay, the commandant is very lenient, he may give you 2 attempts. It happened at our center that he was lenient, he gave one more attempt to those who failed. But in long jump, obviously, because there are 3 attempts, you won't get any more attempts. And see, long jump is very tough, because see, there are 2 lines. One is takeoff line and one is landing line, right? The distance between the two is 3.5 meters. Now, if you touch any one of these lines, the takeoff line or the landing line or the 3.5 meter line, it will be a foul. So basically, you have to take off much beyond that takeoff line, and you have to land beyond that 3.5 meter line. So this means that you have to jump more than 3.5 meter actually. So practice jumping at least 4 or 4.5 meters. It will help you a lot. Okay. So now coming to MST, medical test. See, medical test, there are three problems mainly. One is eyesight, coming to eyesight for candidates who have specs. See, for eyesight, what you should do is, what they need is, they will ask you, the doctor, the eye specialist will ask you to read, those letters which are there. So he will ask you to read those letters. And if you are not unable to read, because see, many times it happens is, for example, my specs is not proper. If you do not wear proper specs as per the requirement, then obviously you won't be able to read those letters because they are very small in size. Okay, so you won't be able to read them, and he will give you read medical straight away. So this is very important, that you should you should have specs which is exactly the par which is required. So kindly go for a medical checkup just before your medical exam, and purchase those specs, and which are exactly as per standards, as per your requirement, so that you are able to read it. And also carry that slip, right? There is a slip where they write those numbers. For example, for left eye it is 3.5 diopter, for right eye it is 2 diopters, right? That prescription, carry that eye prescription with you. They will ask for it. So then coming to weight, I have already told you that do not rely on the board. They can be very lenient. For example, if someone is overweight 2 to 3 kgs or 4 kgs or 5 kgs, at some centers they are lenient and they will recommend the candidate. And on some centers, even if the candidate is 500 grams overweight, they will straight away give remedical. And because now remedical is just after the detailed medical, it won't be possible for you to reduce the weight too much in those 2 or 3 days. Okay. Now coming to knock knees. See, coming to knock knees again, when you will run a lot and you will exercise a lot, then knock knees will automatically improve. You can go for cycling. Cycling is a good exercise for knock knees, and you can run. Running and cycling, this is enough. Okay. So this is enough. This is about medical. And okay, then coming to DAF and interview. See, there are some points regarding DAF. First of all, while filling DAF, see, DAF is basically ready to interview because every word in DAF is very important, because a question can be asked from it in the interview. Okay. Even for example, on DAF it is written that UPSC, Dholpur House, for example, anything like that. So they will ask directly from the question, okay, tell me about UPSC. So every word written on DAF, you need to prepare it for the interview, and it is very important. So now important tips regarding that. DAF, you should write very, very honestly, right? Write what is true, but not too honestly. See, you need to fill DAF in an intelligent way, in a smart way. You have to write honestly, but not too honestly. For example, I will give you some examples. For example, like candidate asks a doubt that if, for example, if you had a SSB and you did not attend it, then there is no need of mentioning it. See, interview is just about those 30 minutes. 20 to 25 to 30 minutes interview is just about answering questions. If you give good answers, if you do not get stuck with the cross questions, then everything is fine. Okay. So you have to play smart in the interview and while filling the DAF. So better ways, for example, to avoid unnecessary questioning. You should try to avoid unnecessary questioning in the interview. So for example, I gave CDS exam. This happened with me. I gave CDS exam once and I did not attend the SSB interview. Now I did not mention it in DAF. Neither I mentioned it in the interview, because obviously it will invite unnecessary questions. Why you didn't attend SSB interview? What was the reason? So there is no need to go for such things. Avoid unnecessary questioning. Similarly, in hobby section, never say that you read newspapers regularly. Never say that your hobby is reading newspaper. See, no newspaper covers every news, and there are many countries in the world. There is a lot to read, right? So for example, if I say in the interview that my hobby is reading newspaper, and then if I'm unable to answer one or two questions, then it will give a negative impression, of course, because see, interview is all about what you say, what you claim. If you are claiming that you read newspapers, then if you are claiming yourself that you read, for example, newspapers, then you have to answer all the questions. You're expected to answer all the questions because you are yourself claiming it. Okay. Similarly, cricket. And I know that in our country, India, cricket is favorite game, right? Most popular game, favorite for all. Now they are UPSC members. Most probably they will watch cricket, right? For example, World Cup is going on. They will watch cricket. So if you write in hobby or in sports that okay, my hobby is playing cricket, then there are very very high chances that they will ask you questions regarding cricket. And on cricket, they can ask you many questions, many questions, and it may not be possible for you to answer some of them. Similarly, so now I will give you my example what I did. See, actually, I am a state level athlete. I am a state level handball player. I am a football player. I am a badminton player. Okay, but I never wrote these things in the depth. I wrote just about athletics and I wrote about football. Because if I write too many sports, for example, it is possible that some of you are sports persons and you have participated in too many sports. See, the higher the number of games you mention in depth, the more you will have to prepare. For example, if you write cricket, from cricket they will go to BCCI. From BCCI they will go to, let's say, Lodha committee recommendations. From there they will go to RTA and so on and so forth. So the higher the number of games, the higher the number of achievements you mention in your depth, the more you will have to prepare. That's obvious, right? So I knew that it will not be possible for me to prepare questions regarding every game, regarding athletics also, regarding football also, regarding handball also. So what I did was I wrote just the few of them. I did not mention badminton in my depth, for example, right? I did not mention cricket in my depth, for example, because I knew that I won't be able to prepare that much. See, you can write everything in depth if you have an answer. If you can answer those questions, you can write everything in depth. But yes, it is better if you fill depth in an intelligent way, in a smart way. Okay. So now coming to some myths which candidates generally have regarding this. See, first of all, first preference. Many candidates think that if they give CISF that first preference, it will create a negative impact. And if they give CRPF or BSF as first preference, it will go in a positive way. It is not so, right? Every force is a force and you can fill preferences as you like. There is no problem with that. Okay? So do not go for such myths. Second thing is many candidates have doubts regarding NCC. There are many candidates who have done NCC. See, now they think about coming. See, for example, someone has completed NCC. Now, someone with NCC certificate is obviously it's a good thing, but again, expectations will be also higher. For example, I am completely from a civilian background. I have never participated in NCC. Now there is a guy, there is a person who has done NCC. So obviously expectations will be higher from that candidate. Second thing is many candidates. For example, we went for some mock interviews and we met many candidates there. Now what happened was some candidates have a myth that if they try to show or that mention that their hobby is doing some social service, then they will get extra marks or it will create a good impression or they will get selected. It is not so. See, in UPSC they are IAS officer, they are very mature and they know that. For example, I met people who wrote in hobby that their hobby is feeding food to poor people, right? Feeding dogs and such kind of hobbies, right? So obviously you cannot do it here. You are yourself unemployed and how can you feed poor? So this is important. So do not go for such myths. Write honestly what is there. For example, my hobby is running. I wrote running. Okay. Then next thing about the DEF. Try to show that you are interested in defense or CAPF. See, it is okay, logical that many of you are there who are or who are preparing for civil service candidates or who are CSE aspirants. Okay. So, but it will be better in your interview if you show interest in defense. For example, you can do this using your DEF. So use your DEF to show that you are really interested to join CAPF or defense forces. So, for example, how to do it? Now, in your hobby, you can write that your hobby is reading novels or reading books on defense. For example, this is my hobby. I wrote this hobby that reading books on defense is my hobby. See, then you can use this time to read some good books on defense, which are written by defense officers. Let's say, for example, there is a book on special forces, Para Special Forces by Lieutenant General Katoch. Then there is a book on McMahon Line, the India-China border by General J.J. Singh. So you can read these type of books, and you can mention in your DAF that you like reading books on defense. Then again, movies. You can also watch many defense-related movies. For example, latest one is Sher Shah and all. And you can write that your hobby is watching movies on defense, right? Same is for many shows. For example, I mentioned this in my DAF. There is a show, The Patriot. The Patriot, which is there on which is there on Republic TV. The Patriot Republic TV, which is hosted by Major Gaurav Arya. Okay, so you can mention that, for example. But obviously, if you mention it, you will have to do it. For example, if you are mentioning in your DAF that your hobby is reading books on defense, then you should read some good books, at least 5 to 6 books, and they may talk to you on those books in the interview. So you read them thoroughly. Okay. Then again, if possible for you, if at this time it is possible for you, because there is a lot of time in interview, I guess, then go for SSB. If you have, for example, if you have applied for CDS or FCAT or NDA, do mention it. NDA or CDS, of course, which is through UPSC only. And if possible, go for SSB and mention in the interview that you have appeared in SSB as well. This will show that you are interested in defense and CAPF. Okay. And then next thing, how to show that you are interested in defenses with your physical fitness. Again, maintain a good level of physical fitness, because fitness is very, very important. Even in IPS, on all the uniform services, fitness is very important. A few days back ago, I came across a post where a video where IPS probationers in their academy, they were running 16 kilometers. So see, fitness is very, very important aspect in these uniform services. So maintain a good level of physical fitness. This will also show that you are interested in defense. The last thing about this is grooming. See, when I went to UPSC interview, I observed that many candidates, this is especially the problem with the boy candidates, male candidates. For example, there were many who did not maintain a clean shave. See, this is a rule in uniform services that you have to maintain a clean shave. See, except the Sikh candidates, only Sikh candidates are allowed to maintain a beard, right? So then again, regarding dresses, you need to wear proper formals. So proper grooming should be there, proper haircut, clean shave. This is very important for at least these interviews, defense and CAPF and all. Okay, so this is not like civil service. Like there is possibility that okay, in some civil service interview you are going, and you will get IAS or IRS and not IPS. Then okay, it is fine. You can have long hair and you can maintain a beard and fine. But these are uniform services in CAPF, in army, even and in IPS. So this is a rule that grooming is very important. Okay, now this is about DEF. And about one more thing about that. Now there are tips from my side. First of all, try to give good answers to the interview. The smart answer. See, a good answer. There is no such thing like. There is nothing like a good answer. There is a good answer to every question in the interview. A good answer is an answer which invites minimum cross questions. See, when there are a lot of cross questions, then it is possible that you may get stuck, and therefore you may you may not get selected. So a good answer is one where you will get minimum cross questions. I will give you one example, right? For example, your father is serving in BSF or CRPF. For example, your father is serving in BSF, and you have given CRPF as your first preference. They will obviously ask you that why CRPF is first preference if your father is serving in BSF. Now, best answer to for this question is to invite minimum cost students. Best answer is you can directly say, sir, my father has been serving in BSF for the last 20 years. I have seen everything. I know everything about BSF. I want to try something new. I want to try something new. That is why I have put CRPF as my first choice. Now, this way, if you answer the question, there won't be any cross questions, right? And then coming to some of the problems which we faced as candidates, and let me tell you about those. See, don't be overconfident and do not be very underconfident at this stage. See, it happened with us. I am very sure it might be happening with you. Now, there are many candidates. See, candidates start talking about their marks in paper one. This is very common, right? Candidates start talking about their marks in paper one. Some have 130, some have 160 plus, and so on. Naturally, what happens is those people, for example, I had 132 marks in paper one. So those people like me who have 132 marks, we think that okay, we are out of race and we do not have any chance to get selected. This happens, right? And people who score 160 plus, they may think that okay, we will get selected for sure. Now this doesn't happen. So keep this thing in mind. See, what happens is candidates have a fair idea about paper one, how they have performed in paper one, but this is only 250 marks, right? 100 marks is for paper 2 and 150 marks for interview. Now at this stage, you people, you don't have any idea about those 350 marks. Many people say that okay, if you have completed paper 2, you will get these marks. This is not true. See, many people are there, for example, many people are there who complete paper 2, but then it depends on your writing skills. How good have you written? Is it easier for examiner to read it and understand it? How organized it is? So marking is not, it is not true that okay, if you have completed paper 2, you will just get 85 or 80 plus marks in paper 2. It is also possible that you will get 70 or 65 or 60. So do not think a lot about it. Candidates do not have any idea about paper 2 and interview. So I will give you some examples. Okay, see, I had maximum our mark sheets are not out yet. So maximum I have 132 marks in paper 1, and still I have all India rank 102. Okay, and I have my friend, I won't name him. I have my friend, he has 165 marks in paper 1. He is all India rank 160 plus. His is all India rank in 160s. So this shows that okay, do not think that okay, if you have 165 marks in paper 1, then you will get a higher rank or a better rank, and if you have 130 marks, you can not get a good rank. It is, and I have my friend, he has just 135 marks in paper 1 and he has ranked within 20. So candidates have literally no idea about how they have performed in how they will perform or they have performed in the latest two stages, which is paper 2 and the interview part. Okay, so do not underestimate its importance. See, then another problem is it is very difficult to predict anything in UPSC. See, for example, I will give you another example. You can check. My rank is, for example, 102. Now double this, rank 204. Now between my rank 102 and 204 rank, there is a gap of only 10 marks. So that means on every mark there are 10 candidates. On every single mark there are 10 candidates. You get 5 marks more. You are 50 ranks higher. You lose 10 marks and you are 100 ranks below. Okay, so this closes the competition in the merit list. So anything can happen. Even if you lose 2 to 3 marks in your paper 1, your rank will drop by 20 to 30 ranks. Okay, and now coming to some statistics, I have verified this, and you can go to UPSC website and you can check yourself. See, I downloaded last 5-year cutoff of UPSC CAPF, last 5 years till 2018. What I observed is the difference between last recommended candidate. I am talking about general category. Last recommended candidate after interview in the final minute, and last candidate who has cleared P1 plus P2, the written exam it is, right? So the minimum difference is 105 to 115 marks. The only difference between the last candidate who has cleared P1 plus P2 and the one who got recommended after interview is 105 to 115 marks. That is the difference. And you people know already that people get up to 120 marks in UPSC CAPF interview. That means even if someone is there amongst you who has cleared the written exam on the bare minimum level, suppose he or she is last person in the list to clear the written exam, he or she also has the chance to get recommended, get selected, provided he okay, I agree that he will need to perform way higher in the interview. He will require 105, 10 marks in the interview, but probability is there. Okay, so that is another important thing. And so that is why it is very important. Don't listen to others. Many people will discourage you. That many people will tell you that okay, you have 130 marks, you have 140 marks, there is no chance. People have 160, 170. So do not listen to people. Just focus on your preparation. Just give your best. Okay, be serious. So this is about it. And now will come about some doubts which have come up. Then I will take doubts from you people if you have any. See, as I have said that you can mention everything in depth. Anything is that, just mention it. Just think in a smart way. For example, if you will be able to answer in the interview, if you will be able to handle all the cross questions, if you are confident that you will be able to handle all the cross questions related to that particular sport or that particular topic, you can mention it. There is no problem. Okay, and write it honestly. Or even if, for example, you don't have a reading hobby, and you mention that okay, I love reading books, then okay, then make it a reality. Make it a reality. Read 5 to 10 books before the interview, and then there is no problem. Okay. So first of all, like a candidate has asked that, is it okay to mention chess and football in interview? These are contrasting games, and what to mention in. See, again, there is no problem. You can mention anything. You can mention anything if you are able to handle cross questions. They may ask, okay, why you play chess, why you play football? You can say that, okay, sir, one is indoor game. I enjoy it with my family, for example, and one is football, which is very active game I enjoy with my friends. So what to mention? You can mention anything. There is no problem, provided you are able to handle all the cross questions, which will crop up in the interview. Okay. And then about language. See, again, as I have said that in DEF, every word which you mention is very important because questions can be asked from it. So someone has asked me a doubt about language where you have to, there is a column in DEF where you have to write about the languages you know, right? For example, this happened with me. Basically, I had Sanskrit language till 10th class. Okay. But I never but I didn't mention Sanskrit language in DEF. Because see, if I mention Sanskrit language in DEF, and if they start asking questions, for example, they may ask anything. Okay, speak 2 lines in Sanskrit, write 2 lines in Sanskrit, or anything, history of Sanskrit, then I won't be able to answer those questions, right? So that is why I dropped this thing. I didn't mention Sanskrit as my language. I just wrote about Hindi and English. So you can write if you know any language. For example, this person has asked me whether he can mention Bhojpuri as a language or not. But again, they can ask questions regarding anything. Then certificate, caste certificate. I will tell you how it happens. Now you will fill your DEF. When you will fill your DEF, you will be basically they will ask you to upload 2 to 3 documents. One is maximum to maximum. One is 10th class mark sheet. One is caste certificate if you claiming any reservation. And third is they will ask for provisional mark sheet or your degree. Okay. So what they do is see certificate, caste certificate. You can refer UPSC notification. There are clearly written rules that, for example, the date on the certificate should be before the last date of the application. So okay, once you are done with DEF, then there will be physical and medical. Just because coming to interview, just before coming to interview, UPSC will verify all the documents. And for example, let's say for example someone has applied in EWS category. What happens is, let's say someone has applied in EWS category and his or her certificate is not valid. What they will do is, they will first of all, if your EWS or SC/ST certificate, any certificate is not valid, they will first of all consider you as a general candidate. And if you are qualifying the exam, the cutoff P1 plus P2 cutoff, obviously in general candidate cutoff, according to general candidate cutoff, then they will clear you, and they will mail you. UPSC will inform you. They will mail you that okay, your certificate was found to be invalid. Therefore, your candidature has been shifted. Yeah, your candidature is being considered under general category from now onwards. Or, for example, you are EWS and your certificate is invalid, and you are not clearing the general cutoff. Then also they will mail you. Many people from RBH receive such mails. Then they will also mail you that your EWS certificate is invalid, and you were considered in general, but you do not clear according to general cutoff. Hence, your candidature is cancelled. Okay, so they will tell you everything. Now coming to some people have doubts that okay, I was in some job before. See, this is very obvious that you see there are two things to it, right? If you mention a lot in depth, then it is positive as well, because they will it is positive because they will think you're okay, he or she is a very good candidate. But again, it can go negative as well. If they ask you questions and you are not able to answer them, you are unable to answer them, then it will go in a negative way. So now this thing you have to decide. Anything which you can justify, which you think you can justify, mention it in depth. There is no problem, because you will justify at the end. But anything which you think you won't be able to justify, do not mention it. Obviously, if you have, for example, national level player, you are a national level player, you have done some previous job in IT sector or in government or anywhere, you can mention it, no problem. But obviously they will ask questions. They will ask question, and it is obviously positive. If someone has prior experience, then obviously it is positive. If you have NCC, if you have any experience, any job experience, either in government or in corporate, obviously it will be helpful, but only if you are able to handle the cross questions. Okay. Then another doubt was regarding sports in service. So you can see sports in service, yes, you will get a lot of opportunities to play sports in services. And see, now it depends. See, basically it happens is it depends on many factors. You will understand later when you will join the service. But yes, there's no doubt that obviously in defense forces and in CAPFs, physical fitness is very, very important, and therefore you can participate in sports during your service. And for I will come to force that again. For example, these days many all the forces, almost all the CAPFs are organizing cycle rallies, right? Where they cycle from, for example, they cycle from Agartala in Tripura to Rajghat in Delhi, right? SSB organized this rally a few days ago. So you can obviously participate and enjoy these things. But again, there can be certain hurdles, as you people know that there is a shortage of officers in the defense, in civil service and CAPF everywhere. Now, because there is a lot of shortage of officers, your department may not allow you to participate in sports sometimes. For example, you want to represent India in suppose some games, right? So it may happen that okay, they may not allow you because of shortage of officers. So this is thing. Next question is certificate of achievements. A candidate has asked if you people have to certificate of achievement. See, no certificate of achievement is required in UPSC. Only I told you now, the only bare minimum certificates and document they will ask for till at least police verification, which is a 10th class mark sheet, your degree, maximum to maximum one ID like Aadhaar, and your caste certificate if you are claiming reservation. Okay. Now I will come to see this many candidates have this query about forces, different forces, how to fill preference. And see, in CAPFs, every force has its positive and its negative. No force is complete. Even army is not complete. Even any service is not complete. On earth, we do not have any perfect job, okay, for which we can apply. There is no perfect job. Now, any job has its pros and cons, right? So, same is the case with CAPFs. Every service, every force in CAPF has its own pros and cons, and no force is a perfect force. If you, for example, choose one aspect of a force, you will have to um, forego another thing. For example, I will start with any force. Let's say CISF. Okay, so you all know pros of CISF. CISF pros are very clear. You will have a good family life. You will be posted in cities, in metros, right, airports, and everything. So life will be very convenient. But again, what my friends who are there in CISF, what they say is, in CISF, you won't enjoy life. You won't feel as if you are in a force. See, at times it can come out to be very, very boring. Because see, CISF duty, primarily CISF duty is just like security, just like private security. So you that feeling of power and authority, and that you are a part of a armed force, that might happen when you are in CISF. So this is the problem with CISF. Okay, the organizational, see, the discipline in the organization is not as much as there in the other forces, obviously. So this is the problem with CISF, and these are its pros. Pros, you know, cons, you know. So then coming to suppose BSF. Now see, BSF is the most developed CAPF, most developed at par with the army, people say, right? So the best infrastructure you will get in BSF, best infrastructure. But again, what is the con? Because BSF is saturated. Okay, it is not an expanding force. Therefore, promotional avenues are lesser in BSF. Now people are talking about cadre review and everything, but okay, it is about future. At the moment, promotional avenues are least in BSF. Like promotions are very, very stagnant and very, very slow in BSF because it is a saturated force. But again, although central government has same facilities, infrastructure wise, BSF is best force to serve. Okay, but yes, promotions are very slow, and you will be posted on borders, either the India Bangladesh border or the India Pakistan border, and of course, family life will not be that much better as in CISF. So again, now coming to ITBP. See, in ITBP pros are, ITBP is a border force. See, again, ITBP main pros are there are mountain areas. For example, people pay a lot to go to hill stations, right? Shimla, Kullu Manali, Oli, Uttarakhand, Kasol, and etc. Ladakh. If you join ITBP, you will get posted in these areas. Okay, so you can explore these areas. Then second benefit is ITBP and SSB. Both the forces have this force. These are small forces. SSB and ITBP both. These are expanding forces, right? Because they are expanding forces, new battalions are created, which creates a lot of promotional revenues, and therefore promotion is fastest in ITBP, SSB. Fastest in SSB, then ITBP. Then promotion is very slow in BSF, CRPF, and CISF. Okay, so this is again like in ITBP. For example, obviously, for a person who belongs to plain area, he or she may feel it difficult to live in mountains because oxygen is very less, temperature is very low. So these problems he or she may have to face. Your family might not want to stay with you. This may also happen. Okay, now coming to SSB. See, one advantage is also for BSF and CRPF. BSF and CRPF are the most renowned CAPFs. There are many people who do not know about CSF. There are many people who do not know about ITBP and SSB, but almost all the people in our country know about BSF and CRPF. Right? Now coming to SSB. SSB is the smallest force, and obviously SSB is expanding force. Promotions are fastest in SSB. Just on 5 years completion of service, you will be promoted as deputy commandant. So fastest promotions are there in SSB. Then SSB, ITBP, CISF, they are very peaceful forces. For example, you know that casualties are almost negligible. In BSF, CRPF, there are a lot of casualties. But again, in BSF, CRPF, you will get a chance to earn many medals. For example, Ashok Chakra, Kirti Chakra. You cannot get these medals in CISF, right? This kind of opportunity. Then again, area under control is maximum for example, CRPF. For example, Jammu and Kashmir. The maximum area is covered in a CRPF, right? So CRPF, BSF, this is the advantage. You will feel that that authority and that power on ground. But it is not so. For example, in CISF, CISF power is limited to that particular airport where they are posted, right? Then, for example, another problem with CISF is CISF doesn't take anything from the government. It is a self-sufficient force. So, for example, CISF is providing security to DMRC, Delhi Metro. Then CISF for example, you are an officer in CISF and you need anything, be it a vehicle or anything, you will have to request DMRC to provide you that vehicle, to provide you those things. So if you are in CISF, you will have to ask for anything from the management which you are securing. Okay, you cannot ask for anything from the government. But in BSF, CRPF, ITBP, SSB, this is not so. These four forces are funded by the government. So there is no dearth of resources in these forces. Okay. So these are pros and cons. Again, in CRPF is a pan-India force. If you want to get deployed, see, obviously our forces undertake a lot of development activities in the respective areas. But of course, if you want public interaction, for example, at large, then CSF and CRPF is the obvious choice. CRPF, you know, it is all India force. But again, if you go to CRPF, then you will have to serve for a long time in Naxal areas. And again, CRPF is again a saturated force. And CRPF and BSF has slowest promotions. Okay, and one main aspect I will tell you. See, in CISF and ITBP and SSB, coming to this AC part, our exam, UPSC, CAPF, AC exam, you might be having an idea about reserve list. So after your results are declared, there will be one main list. For example, we had 330 vacancies in CAPF 2019. Result for 264 vacancies has been declared by UPSC, which is main merit list. Now reserve list will also be declared because there are a lot of vacancies for BSF and CRPF, and most of the people who get lower ranks, like BSF, CRPF, are generally the lowest, the last preferences among candidates. So therefore, you will have to wait for a lot of time. You may have to for a lot of time for training of CRPF and BSF, because these two forces wait for these two forces have to wait for a reserve list. Okay, for example, we are getting training now, ITBP, SSB, and CSF, but CRPF and BSF will have to wait for the reserve list. So this is also a factor which you people can consider. Okay, so this is about the forces. No force is complete. Every force has its pros and cons. So actually, it is not possible to say that. I can tell you my experience. There are many people who are in CRPF who are not happy. There are many people who are in CISF who are not happy with their force, and also there are many people. For example, we have an officer, assistant commandant. He left army. He got OTA, officers training academy. He left army and joined ITBP. He is very happy. So see, again, job satisfaction, we cannot really say anything about it. There are many IPS officers who are not happy and they want IAS. So, you know, no job is perfect, no force is perfect. Okay. So now there are three more doubts. Is it okay to leave sports NCC section blank? Yes. It is better if you see, if you do not have anything to write in the achievement section, obviously it is better for you to leave it blank. But yes, obviously they will ask you questions that why have you left it blank? You never participated in anything. So you can justify it by saying that, okay, sir, I have started it. I will participate in future. I will whenever I will get opportunity. You know, try to do these kind of things. You will have to explain. But yes, obviously it is it will go in your favor if you come to everything in an honest way. Okay, but not too honest. Play smart. Can I change address which was provided during my initial application? You may have to write to UPSC about that. Okay, so if you have any questions, you people can ask. They will tell you about if the certificate is invalid before your interview, before interview dates, after a medical, after remedical, after everything, just before interview dates are there, they will give you the mail. Okay, they will ask for EW certificates again. Yes. I did for example, I did my MTech also when I was preparing. See, obviously, if you have done post graduation, whether it is MBA or it is MTech or MSc, it is good. It is good. See, you can say again, interview and DEF is all about questioning. For example, they will ask you, why have you done MTech or MBA? You can directly say, sir, there were two reasons. First reason is, if you do, for example, if you go for MBA or MTech, first reason is it will help you in promotion. After you get selected, it will help you in promotion. Those who have PG. It helps in promotion. Second thing obviously is that it will fill the gap year. You won't have any gap year, so it is also good. So you should mention this. What about underweight relaxation? See, relaxation is, there is no relaxation in weight. See, I will tell you. Earlier, it used to happen is when there was medical, there was a table and it was like, for example, this particular height, we need exact, there was exact figure of weight. For example, there is a particular height and they will ask for, let's say my height is 175 centimeter. And if someone says that height is 65 kg, weight is required, then there used to be relaxation, okay, plus minus 10%. But now there is no nothing about weight. Their range has already been mentioned. You can go to your UPSC CAPF notification and below range is already mentioned. For example, for my height, according to my height and age, range is 54 to 70 kg. So it is already a 14 kg range which UPSC has given. So there is no room for much relaxation. 14 kg range has already been provided. Okay. Your mother is in CISF, does it give you any advantage? They, obviously, if your father is serving in forces, or if your brother or a friend, see, they may ask you that why you want to join CAPF. Then obviously you will have to tell them that why are you motivated. Then obviously you can mention such thing that my father is serving in CSF, or my mother is serving in CSF or BSF or army, or he is an ex-serviceman, or she is an ex-serviceman. Then obviously it shows that you are motivated to join the forces. So it will help you in answering the questions. That is the only advantage you will have. But again, expectations will be higher. You should know in detail about CSF because your mother is working there. What all questions can be accepted if hobby is playing football? See, anything relating to football can be asked, but okay, you should cover all the general questions like body governing the football, for example, FIFA, the ground measurements. They have asked even about the famous players like Messi and Ronaldo, and about basic things like the Indian captain of the football team, India female football team, rank of India in FIFA rankings, what we rank of our football team, FIFA is football there in Olympics and everything. So try to read it, at least cover the basics regarding FIFA, Indian football team and everything. I have not competed MBA. I just started, so I should. I tell you, see, they do not worry about that. See, understand one thing regarding gap year. Now, there are many candidates who are confused regarding gap year. See, gap years do not matter. Gap years do not matter if you justify them. You people have cleared your CAPF exam and you will clear your physical and medical. Then you people will go to interview. This already justifies your gap year. See, suppose you had a 3-year gap, but you managed to clear your CAPF exam and then physical and then medical, and you are going for the UPSC interview. Now it already justifies your gap. That you have worked hard during your gap. That is why you are there. So there is no problem of gap after when you go for the interview. So don't worry about it. They won't matter. I have a gap of 2 years and no one asked in the interview. My height is somewhere between this. Is it a problem? See, yes, this might be a problem because the way anyone can allow some relaxation in weight because the weight is variable. For example, let's say someone is 500 or 1 kg overweight, then it is possible that okay, you will go to training academy, they will make you run, they will make your exercise, and weight will go down. But in case of height, no one can increase your height. So height will remain same, though that they are very strict regarding height. So don't worry about it. Just go to medical, and if they clear you, then fine. If they don't clear you, then you will have to look for some other option. Simple. You cannot do anything about your height. Okay. See, long jump. अगर आप long jump नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, if you are unable to do long jump depends on 2 factors. See, obviously, you have to run, then you have to jump. So long jump depends only on 2 factors, which is speed, how fast you can run. Second thing is body weight. अगर आपका body weight ज़्यादा है, you won't be able to go for a long distance. You won't be able to take a jump. So आप अपना weight कम कीजिए, ठीक है? Try to reduce your weight, maintain and improve your physical fitness, so that you are able to run in a run faster and jump for a long distance. And then this way you will be able to improve it. Physical fitness is the key. Force related question will be asked. Yes, they can ask you force related questions. Obviously, they can ask you about the CAPFs, about NSG, even all the forces, security questions. Then obviously force related question, they can ask you that, okay, but you see, these questions are asked when they have a doubt that, okay, whether you are, for example, I will give an example. Now you have a candidate has filled his DAF or her DAF in a manner, and they are unable to, for example, unable to understand whether the candidate is interested or not. Now, obviously, only for those kind of candidates, they ask with this set of questions that, okay, why this course is your first preference? Honestly speaking, I felt CISF as my first preference, but they never asked me, so why CISF is your first preference? Because I gave NDA exam, I gave CDS exam, I wrote it. I mentioned about my hobbies related to defense. So they were very clear that, okay, this person is interested. So they didn't ask me about any force. So force related questions will come up only if they doubt your, only if they have a doubt that you are interested to join the force. Then only they will ask force related questions, otherwise they won't. If you have an interest in any hobby and you haven't so far experienced it, you have to experience. See, there are many things which we learn when we experience it. There are many people who will tell you to write, for example, anything in DAF and then justify without even doing it. See, it is risky. It okay, you can do it, but it is risky because if we do something, we experience something, we learn a lot, and then we can answer the questions in a better way, and we are very confident as well. For example, if you have interest in biking and traveling and you have never traveled, they will ask you, if they ask you some deeper questions, some questions in detail, in depth, you won't be able to answer. And even if you answer, you won't be able to answer with confidence. So write the hobbies which you can do now, for example, right? For example, reading, and you can write traveling, but at least go for one or two trips. Then you can write traveling as well. Obviously, if you have given CSC prelim 2021, you should not mention it. Obviously, you should not mention it. You have to see, again, you have to play smart in interview. You have to play smart in a way that, okay, you are interested in CAPF and defense only. So never mention civil service. It will go in your favor. No problem. They don't have a, see, in our country, there are many citizens, 140 crore citizens. No one is here to, no one has so much time to verify the data. So obviously, there is no need to mention CSC prelims or talk about civil services. Okay. That is why I'm telling you that if you mention your BSF ITBP CRPO first preference, this does not happen that you will get higher marks. This is the thing. See, it depends that for example, I have only 132 marks in paper 1. So obviously I got a very high score in paper 2 and interview. That is why I have 102 rank. And people who have 160, 165 marks, they have 160, 170 rank. So obviously this doesn't matter. One of my friends, he is All India rank 16, 2018 CAPF. He is in CISF. He fills CISF as per preference. So it doesn't matter. See, they will look that, okay, if you are interested, and honesty also matters. You can honestly say that, okay, CISF is my first preference, sir. You can say, for example, if they ask you that why CSF is your first preference, you can simply say, the CSF is my first preference because, for example, I would have said that, sir, I am from Delhi. I have seen CSF. It motivates me a lot. Then I am good in, let's say, I am good in speaking to public, interacting. So I will get a lot of chance to interact with public. See, then you can say that, okay, sir, I am an engineer. I am a tech savvy person. So it is easier for me. And CSF is a tech savvy force. When on the airport, a lot of technology is used. So it is easier for me to, it will be easier for me to adapt to any new technology and understand the functioning of CSF. So that is not problem. So do not think about these, do not go for these myths. Female candidates dress code. Yeah. Two things about I will mention about female. See, in our country, there is a lot of, in our country, the physical health of females is neglected because of security reasons. Also, female candidates are unable to go to, for example, they are unable to go to any for running and all. So rejection rate in physical was highest for female candidates. Rejection is in physical. For example, you will be asked to report in batches. So in batches, for example, there are around 30 candidates in a batch. So for male candidates, selection ratio in physical was out of 30, 20 getting selected, 25 getting selected, minimum 15, 14 getting selected. For female candidates, this ratio in physical test was out of 30 female candidates, only 2 getting selected, 0 getting selected, 1 getting selected, maximum 3 getting selected. So especially for female candidates, I will say that focus a lot on physical fitness. Okay? In our society, this is neglected and this is very important. About female candidate dress code, obviously short pant, formals, right? Do not go for sari and all like girls, female candidates do in civil service, because again, there you can get IAS and IAS or IRS, but here only option is police, like CAPF. And obviously in CAPF or in the army or in the IPS as well, females have the same dress, that is shirt and pant, like the combat dress thing, formal dress in the service, like there is no sari and all. So for female candidate dress code, we are the formals, proper formals, coat, blazer, pant, and like that. Fine, Shardina. No, obviously, if you choose ITVP as your last preference, see, never try to justify yourself by saying anything which is negative in nature. For example, I also prepared this thing. My last preference was BSF. So, for example, if question is why BSF as last preference, I will simply say, sir, there are 5 forces, and UPSC is asked for preferences. I wouldn't have given any force any preference. I am happy to serve in any force. But because you have asked for preferences, I had to mention some force as my last preference. So okay, now BSF is my last preference. So answer it in that way. Okay. So do not try to say that okay, BSF is this is negative. That is why BSF is my last preference. Cycling and diary writing a good hobby. Every hobby is a good hobby. There is no problem. See, they will ask you. There are some common questions regarding all these hobbies. They will ask you when you practice this hobby. Of okay, when you practice this hobby, and then what you learn from it, how this hobby will help you in forces. Okay, how this hobby will help you in training, how this hobby will help you in CAPFs. This question they can ask with any hobby. And coming to any hobby is a good hobby. It's just that you should be able to answer all the questions and you perform it so that you are confident. Good shoes for short running 100 meters. See, flexible shoes. Shoes should be flexible. Like for example, the sole of the shoe should not be very stiff. When you like move it, when you try to move it, then it should be very flexible sole, right? So it should not be, or it should be fit. Do not go for online shopping, because when you go for online shopping of shoes, then it happens that there is some difference in size, and you are unable to purchase the shoes which are totally fit for your foot. So in that case, go to market and purchase shoes from there. Okay. No problem, no problem. If you give NDA CDS, you don't have admit card or you don't have roll number, it doesn't matter. You will be asked to put a 0 in that place. So whenever you are filling, for example, previous UPSC exams you gave NDA, put a 0. No need to put roll number or anything. CDS 2021 exam on 14 November. Yes, you can mention CDS exam. See, there is no problem with mentioning CDS and NDA exam till you are going for interview. If you are not going for interview, you are leaving interview. Even if you are not going for interview, give some other reason. For example, you have given CDS or NDA, and you didn't go for SSB interview. You can say that okay, sir, I was suffering from chickenpox, I was suffering from jaundice, I was like these kind of reasons. Okay, for example. So there is no problem in mentioning CDS and NDA. Obviously, it will go in your favor. In PET, okay, this is a good question. In PET, how much time you get between the events? See, generally you get time between the event, because see how it happens is there are 30-40 candidates, right? So they will run one by one. For example, there is 100-meter. First of all, 10 candidates will run. Then they will obviously take rest. Then another 10 will run. Then another 10 will. Then another 10 will run. After that, 800-meter will take place. So at least there is 5 minutes gap At least 5 minutes rest is there between each exercise. Again, in long jump, for example, when I went for long jump, I cleared long jump in my first attempt, and I was made to sit at a separate place. Okay, so I was sitting there and I was taking rest. Now there were 3 attempts for all the, for most of the candidates. They took all 3 attempts. Like in long jump, rejection rate is very high. So obviously, I around waited for 20-30 minutes for the shot put. So obviously, there is a lot of time. There is no problem with time. See, mentioning CSC can be risky. Mentioning CSC can be risky, especially because they will think it is your backup option and you will leave. So mentioning CSC can be risky in CAPF. You can mention CSC. See, you can mention CSC, but only if you are very interested. उनको इस चीज से problem नहीं है. They don't have any problem with CSC. The only thing is you should be equally interested in CAPF. If you mention CSC, you can say that, okay, sir, I am writing CSC because if I do not get CAPF, then I will have to go for IPS. But okay, if I get CAPF, I will see. Now they have problem only with this thing that many people, what they do is they will write CAPF, they will get selected in merit, they won't join. This thing they don't want. Physical center. See, what they do is you had your exam center, right? So you had your exam center. For example, my exam center was Delhi. For some people, exam center was, for example, Hyderabad. Now, what they do is they will make 5-6 centers of physical and medical in India. And what they will do is you will get the nearest center to your exam center. Nearest, for example, if you have given exam in Delhi, so you will get an exam center nearby in Delhi or in Noida, like that. Okay. So that is how we get physical and exams, physical center. As I told you, long jump और short put की practice के लिए, what you need to do is long jump and short put की practice के लिए first of all go to YouTube, watch some videos. Army rally भर्ती की videos होती हैं, right? Watch those videos. उससे आपको पता लग जाएगा what is the technique. Okay, then go to you can purchase short put. आप short put purchase कर सकते हैं. It is around 700-800 rupees. Purchase short put and go to any ground where long jump is available. For example, in Delhi, it is available in Jawaharlal Nehru Stadium. Then you can start practicing. ठीक है, तो try to implement that technique. और fitness improve. See, fitness is the key to all physical activities, whether it is 100 meter or 800 meter or long jump or short put. So if you improve your fitness level, then obviously you can do it. PET centers, I already told you, it are allotted on the basis of where you give your exam center. Okay, if exam center is, for example, Delhi, I live in Delhi, exam center is in Delhi, then obviously they will give me PET center near Delhi itself, in North India, near Delhi, like Noida or Gurgaon or Delhi, it's like that. Okay, friends, do you have any more doubts? Or should we conclude it? Long cut mark on my left hand, any issues? See, it is like what happens is medical mein, they will take off your clothes and they will check. If there is no cut, there is no wound, then obviously you are fit. The बाकी नहीं है, right? But in case, for example, there is a stitch mark, there is some stitch mark जिससे उनको लगता है कि कोई operation आपका हुआ है in past, right? You were operated upon in the past, you had some surgery, you went for some surgery. In that case, they will do some additional tests. For example, आपका operation हुआ है, कोई surgery हुई है. In that case, they will do additional tests like ultrasound, and then they will decide whether to clear you or not. Okay. Should we take BP and sugar test before PET? Is medical in glass allowed or without? In glass, I think you are talking about glasses, right? Yes, in medical you will go with glasses. doctor will ask you to read some alphabets which will be written at a distance. Blood pressure and sugar test before PET. Sugar test is, I do not think that sugar test is problem with people, right? With young people. But okay, you can go for it. And BP, yes, BP you can go. But okay, in revised medical procedure, they will not, they will not declare you medically unfit in case of BP. Like, well, they will, for example, earlier what used to happen is, if your blood pressure is not in range, they used to declare candidates directly unfit and give them remedical. But now this is not the case. New guidelines have this point that okay, if someone because see, blood pressure may rise due to excitement. There are people who become nervous, who get excited, and blood pressure rises. So they won't declare you unfit. Okay. So what they will do is they will admit you and they will take some time and they will check. So BP is fine, but okay, obviously you can go for BP test and everything. This RTI issue I have no idea. ये क्या मतलब आप बोलना चाह रहे हैं शुभम? RTI क्या होता है? फादर फार्मर है RTI. What is this? RTI एक्ट का क्या रिलेशन है इससे? मैं समझ नहीं पा रहा हूँ क्वेश्चन. If I have LASIK operation as I need for FCAT, is that allowed? Yes, LASIK is allowed. No problem. No, 42 days आपको अपील नहीं दिया जाएगा. No appeal option will be given for remedical. Remedical आपका 2 to 3 days बाद ही होगा. See, there is no point in, मतलब it does not alter your chances of getting selected. जैसे कि सपोज आप अभी ओवरवेट है, सपोज यू पीपल आर ओवरवेट, ठीक है. अब आपको उसके लिए टाइम तो चाहिए नहीं है. आपको अभी पता है कि आप ओवरवेट हैं, आप यूपीएससी का चार्ट देखिए, अपना वेट लीजिए, आपको पता लग जाएगा कितना वेट आपको कम करना है एंड एवरीथिंग. यू कैन स्टार्ट वर्किंग ऑन इट एंड देयर आर इनफ टाइम. अभी वो डैप भरवाएंगे, उसके बाद मेडिकल फिजिकल होगा, एटलीस्ट देयर आर 2 months टाइम. ठीक है, तो 2 months टाइम अगर है तो बहुत है. 2 months 1.5 months आप अभी वेट कम कर लीजिए, आपको एडिशनल 42 डेज की रिक्वायरमेंट पड़ेगी ही नहीं. ठीक है, इसलिए उन्होंने ऐसा किया है. आईटीआर आपको क्यों लगाना? आईटीआर की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी आपको. आईटीआर को तभी मांग सकते हैं अगर आपका एडब्ल्यूएस या कुछ है, वैसे नहीं तो आईटीआर की कोई जरूरत नहीं. बस वो इनकम पूछते हैं, पूछने के लिए वो आप इनकम लिख दीजिए कि इतनी. हाउ टू प्रिपेयर फॉर इंटरव्यू कोचिंग. ओके रोहित, वैसे हम इंटरव्यू पर सेशन वी विल टेक इट अगेन बाद में, बट ओके. सी, इंटरव्यू के लिए यही है कि आप डेफ के ईच एंड एवरी वर्ड को आप अच्छे से प्रिपेयर कर लीजिए अपने. फॉर एग्जांपल एनीथिंग जो आपने डेफ में लिखा है, जैसे कि आपका बर्थ प्लेस, आपका डेट ऑफ बर्थ है, तो कौन से इवेंट्स आपकी ईयर ऑफ बर्थ में हुए थे. जैसे मैं 95 बॉर्न हूँ, तो 95 में क्या क्या हुआ था, मेरा डेट ऑफ बर्थ जो भी है उस दिन क्या क्या हुआ, तो ऐसे आप कर लीजिए प्रिपेयर. बाकी कोचिंग की जो बात है, कोचिंग इज नॉट रिक्वायर्ड, बट इज मॉक इंटरव्यूज आप दे सकते हैं. डू गो फॉर मॉक इंटरव्यूज, इट विल हेल्प यू इन प्रैक्टिस एंड बिल्डिंग कॉन्फिडेंस. सिर्फ एक्सपेक्टेड डेट ऑफ पीएटीसी, कोरोना जब से कोविड है, कोरोना वायरस है, वी कैन नॉट say that okay, this is expected date of PAT. There are many factors. Okay, for example, abhi people are talking about third wave, so there are many factors who can the date of PAT which can, for example, depends on it. So we can't say for sure that when PAT can, but yes, I can tell you about our case. When during our case there was no COVID, so after declaration of our result, around 15 days after declaration of return result, we got our DEF, and around 2 months, yes, 2 months after filling the DEF, we got our PET dates. Okay. DNS. Okay, Himanshu, then in that case, see, in that case for you, better thing is, see, अगर आप ओवरवेट हैं और आपको डीएनएस भी, आपको सर्जरी भी करानी है, then the best thing is go for surgery as soon as possible, because surgery first, वो तो already आप रिजेक्ट हो जाएंगे. Surgery is first, go for it as soon as possible. Okay, then उसके बाद you can take rest, no problem. 1 month, 2 months, 1.5 months, अभी टाइम है बहुत, एटलीस्ट 2 to 2.5 months अभी लगेंगे, अभी डेफ भी नहीं आया आप लोगों को. So it will take a lot of time. Also, see, ओवरवेट के लिए जरूरी नहीं आपको एक्सरसाइज ही करनी है. ओवरवेट के लिए आप खाना कम खाइए, आप मॉर्निंग में खाइए, डिनर में खाइए, स्किप लंच. आप दिन भर कुछ मत खाइए, ओवरवेट ऑलरेडी मतलब बहुत हद तक कंट्रोल हो जाएगा. ओके, सो आप उस तरीके से भी अपना वेट कम कर सकते हैं. Suggest any academy for mock interview. See, there are very few academies who will provide mock interviews for CAPF. So you can go to any academy. It doesn't matter much. See, basically आप mock interviews होंगे वो आप देखिएगा YouTube पर, और जिसका आपको अच्छा लगे. See, actually mock interview UPSC, no one will ever match the level of UPSC. Whoever takes your mock interview or whoever takes your even your written exam, for example, no one can match the level of UPSC. So the only thing is mock interview is important because there are some who have a problem with speaking, right? Who have never given an interview, and especially UPSC interview where you will go and there will be 4 to 5 people who will take your interview. So you need some kind of some level of confidence to answer the questions and talk to them. So this for this confidence building, this interview is important. So it won't matter. Many people you might have read about people who have prepared for civil service or for defense. There are many people who have prepared for UPSC interview with their friends. 4 or 5 friends, they took interview for the another person, right? And they cleared. So coaching is not actually important, but okay, mock interview is important. Now, whether you give mock interview to your friends, to your family members, to any academy, it doesn't matter. Confidence matters in the end. Okay. Okay, friends, I think this is it. Any more doubts we can take? Okay, friends, if you have any more doubt, feel free to go to ask on the group. I will answer the queries on the group. Okay. Wish you all the very best, and keep these things in mind. Do not feel discouraged if you have lower marks in P1. If you have cleared the exam, try to perform better in interview. You will qualify. Okay. No one knows about P2 and interview. Do not think much. See, there were many people who were always talking about DEF and everything about marks on the group. Do not think much about these things. Just focus on preparation. Okay? Preparation is the key. Okay. Wish you all the best.